The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
This is how you look when you keep mentioning to that man how good of a wife you will be. That man then said, tell me about yourself, and all you got to say is, I'm a wife, God made me to be a wife, I'm wife material. Shut up, we don't care.
What led to the fall of my marriage? My marriage endured a year-long separation because I was not emotionally disciplined.
I believe that marriage has been weaponized in Western Christianity. Giving has been weaponized in Western Christianity. Sexuality has been weaponized. For example, any woman listening to this can attest in our culture. Don't be no 30, 35-year-old single black woman and go to the family reunion. All the older women are gonna do them, they're gonna look at you and wonder, why you not...
The dishes wasn't 50-50, the laundry wasn't 50-50, the cleaning wasn't 50-50, and that's an everyday motherfucking job. I come home and they got food on the table, clothes on the bed, got shit everywhere. I'm organized and clean, so every day I'm exhausted.
We have different duties and functions and responsibilities. And if you don't love your duty, your function, your responsibility, you're not fit to be a wife, period.
Why we not talk? Well, let's talk about it. We live. We live. Yeah.
That's the show, Dada!
The last 7 days have been totally insane, but we made it. Now buckle up and get ready for the most organic conversation on the internet with your hosts, The Force, The King, The Kamikaze, The Great and Terrible. Up to it, down to it. Pour a glass and talk some trash. Welcome to the show, and thank you for tuning in. We hope you have a good time tonight right along with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend. Let's go up to it.
About to have a damn good time. We got a damn good show ahead of us tonight. Damn good show. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Assuming nothing changed since last week, and we can still call you that. Welcome back to another Friday night with your Friday Night Delights. Another dose of the most organic conversation on the internet, up to it, down to it. Get ready, pour a glass and talk some trash with your boys, man. Have a good time with us. Let's go. Bringing in the weekend. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what we do. I'm your boy, the Great and Terrible Trey. Got a bunch of good stuff to bring to y'all today. We got a damn good show, like I said. So I'm going to go ahead and get to some intros real quick. Right there, my man. We got the 2 Live crew in the building. My LB, Ace Boone Coon, the man, the inspirational King Rich. Talk to us, brother.
What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing fine like wine and getting better with time like I am. Happy to be here. Man, it's just a busy time, man. Busy. The grind is real. School is well on. Work been underway, but happy to see these teachers getting back to work as well. But nah, man. I guess what's been laying on my heart this week, man, is the grind must continue. So get after it. We gotta get this work. We gotta make some things happen for ourselves and our family, man. You gotta get after it. And one of the other things that is what are you willing to give up? Because your energy, your attention, your money is going somewhere. So if you want something, that means something else has to sacrifice, whether it's your leisure time or maybe if you want to do something different, right? If you want to get something that you've never had, you got to do some things you've never done. So a lot of those things come into play. Think about those things, write it down, make a plan, and go after it. Tonight, I'm chilling on some E&J brandy. So I'll be sipping on that. I got some other things here that I may, dibble and dabble, maybe make some mixer here and two throughout the show. But get ready. It's about to be one heck of a show. So it's still time to tell a friend to tell a friend. Come on, jump on, because we about to have some fun.
You already know. Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a barn burner, as they say. I think. We got a lot of good different topics, man. I'm chilling tonight. I'm just on the wine tonight. The wine in the mug. It was full. The mug was full.
Man, I was about
But
to be on that, but I didn't make it to the store, man. I was like, you know what? I just want to chill with some wine tonight, but I didn't make it to the
Yeah.
store. But that was definitely about to be my go-to. Definitely about to be
Yeah.
my go-to. I was looking through the cabinets, like I gotta have something. Looking in the fridge and whatnot. Nah, we out, man. So I gotta restock on some of that good wine.
Yeah.
You know,
It always comes in at the right time. I think it always hits the spot at the right time. I'm chilling on that because we got the little ones got cheerleading parades and whatnot tomorrow. All this carrying on, so we got an extra early morning. Shout out to all the cheer dads out here. Y'all know what I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the
shout
dads
out to them,
that have kids in extracurricular activities. We're gonna drink to that too.
man. Them extracurricular activities. Listen, okay, for all you out there that have kids, you know what we're talking about. For all you that don't have kids, listen. It's a different animal, okay? It's a different animal. I talked about things that need to be sacrificed. Well, guess what? When you get your kids in activities, some things are going to need to be sacrificed. But it's all good, man. It's all good. The kids, as long as they love it, I'm for it. Let's go. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Trey, you got the cheerleading. I got BMX, whatnot. As long as they love it, we gonna be there, cheering them on, coaching them on. So yeah, man. For those out there, man, keep doing it. Keep encouraging your kids to stay active, to do those things, get into it, do what you love. They need to figure it out, because once he, like, oh, I didn't tell you the other day, the game, right? Ravens versus.
Oh yeah.
Did you catch any of that?
No, I caught some of it.
Like some of it, and then some highlights. I only watched the first half, but because RJ, man, he was watching it with me, man. Talk about a proud dad moment, right? He was watching it with me, wearing the wrong jersey, of course. But anyway, influence the guy. It's terrible. It's terrible. Anyway, but still, man, he was into it. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like he was like interception when what's his face caught the interception on Mahomes.
Yeah.
RJ was like, yes, yeah. I was like, let's go, boy. Like I think he definitely wants to get out there and do some football, but so we're gonna look at some football, some other things for him. Definitely martial arts for that discipline. But it's just exciting, man. It is just exciting.
Their lives are so full of wonder, man. They can literally do anything. You never know what they're going to take a liking to and what they have a special talent for until you try it out with them. So yeah, man. Shout out to all the parents, but I'm specifically shouting out the dads that are out here holding the kids down with the extracurriculars, man. Big shout out, doing our thing.
That game.
Gang. We listen. I'm gonna blame the viewers who submitted some of these for the difference in the tone of tonight's conversations. All right, I'm blaming all.
Oh man.
Subscriptions. I'm blaming all the viewer submissions. All right. I got two for you today. Both of them dealing with relationships. Hopefully we can get Kev on a little bit later on. I know he's got some stuff happening. Shout out to him. Shout out to Q as well, man. He's still working him like a Hebrew slave, man. But
Yeah, man.
keep my man's in prayer, as we all are for sure. Shout out to Q. But that's it. We got a few things to talk about. So I guess first we'll talk about this viewer submission where this young lady particularly is talking about um, some of the ups and downs that she experienced in her marriage and what she realized as a result. Yeah, let's get down to it, man. Pour your glass, talk some trash. Let's do it.
What led to the fall of my marriage? My marriage endured a year-long separation because I was not emotionally disciplined. I was struggling with now knowing and now being educated on BPD, so borderline personality disorder. I could not contain my emotions for the life of me. I was a very neurotic woman. I was very insecure, and it talks about in the word that a wife could either build her house or break it down, and I was definitely breaking it down with my emotions, not having emotional stability, not being taught how to have emotional stability. Now that I'm an adult and now I'm in a marriage, I have no idea how to contain. I saw how my husband was showing emotional discipline. I wanted to get there, didn't know how to.
Well. That's an interesting one right there. A couple of things I noticed that she pointed out. I'll let you jump in first. What's your thought? Just kind of immediately watching that.
Immediately watching that, it's like she was able to get to a place where she finally realized and was taking accountability of what transpired, what happened, what was her part in it. Unfortunately, looks like it came too late. And sometimes that happens. These things happen. She talked about emotional discipline. She talked about how she couldn't contain her emotions, and it just sounds like it was just an eruption. And what happens a lot of times is your spouse will he'll try to not control you, but help you to learn. But if you're not willing to learn or listen, if you're not willing to even listen, then you'll just be defensive, then you just be erratic, always in this defense mode. And that just sounds like that's where she was. I wish that for people in those situations that they could really seek that therapy early, seek that help early. Like if you really want to change, I mean, I don't know if she was saying like she knew that she was this way and she was trying to fix it. But I mean, if you're truly trying to fix it, you gotta seek that help. You gotta be willing to take certain constructive criticisms, and really be willing to change, really to take accountability. Like I said, in her situation, though, it just looks like it came a little too late. But some people don't recognize that, and that bleeds on into the next relationship, and then into the next relationship. They don't realize that all along it's them. Like you really gotta it's almost like people need to sometimes just record themselves, like just record yourself and forget about that you even recorded it, because like really record yourself, or somebody need to record you when you are in that mode, so you can see yourself, um you know but yeah, I'm glad she seems like I'm glad she finally took that accountability and recognized, and sounds like she's either getting some help, got some help.
Yeah, it looks like she's moving right down the lane, for whatever that's worth. Um, a couple of things that stuck out to me was um similar to what you said. She said she had, was it borderline personality disorder?
Oh
Is that
yeah,
what you
yeah,
said?
I think that's what she said. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know whether she was diagnosed with that before or after meeting her husband, right? Um, I can appreciate that she recognized that that was a problem, and I think a lot of people have issues like that, but they haven't gone and did the work, as everybody's saying. They haven't gone and done the work to find out and figure out what the problem is and how to overcome it, right? And like you said, sometimes they do it and it's too little, too late, at least to save that relationship. And it is what it is. But that was the first thing that stuck out to me, was she recognized that she had borderline personality disorder. And we often talk about on this show how the importance of being healed before you go into a relationship, right? And so there are people on both sides, men and women, that have these issues. I think there's a there's a line between love and support and sticking around for abuse, right? I think you can love somebody and support their growth uh, from a distance if necessary, and not love them any less. And I don't. At the same time, again, I would just go back to what the Bible says, fellas, especially. It's better for you to be in the desert than in the house with a contentious woman. It's better for you to live in the corner of an attic than to live in a palace with a contentious or argumentative woman. So don't argue with me. That's what the Bible says, right? So, so I think, and you can apply that either way. Okay, you can say, oh, all right, well, it's probably worse, if you're just as bad if you're a girl living with a contentious, argumentative guy. Oh, okay, fine, whatever. The bottom line is, if once you recognize these red flags, is that person actually trying to do something to change it? Are they trying to do something to fix it, or have they just resigned to this is just who they are?
Mm,
And if they've resigned to this is just who they are, in my opinion, I think you need to
mm,
look for the hills. That's my opinion. I think you need to get on out of there. But you need to make a decision. Whoever you are, you need to make a decision. But in my opinion, if the person's not working on healing, if they're not working to get better, not working to heal, I, and you got to recognize this before you go in, long term covenant with somebody, marriage, right? In my opinion, but if they're not even working towards it, like, this is what you had to put up with for the rest of your life. Are you okay with that?
yeah, I think I've said it before on this show, where it's like one of the things that one of the many things, right, that did it for me, with my wife, is that we were in alignment with both working on ourselves, not being this. We didn't have the mindset of this is just who we are. It was like, we want to continue to grow. We want to continue, to better ourselves. But then also we were committed to growing the relationship. So I believe you got to have both. You just can't be committed to growing the relationship and just forget yourself. You, I might be by myself. I don't know, but I think that you got to be growing. Yourself. You got to grow and then also be working on the relationship and spend time on each, separately. Um, because you have to be whole yourself. You can't rely on the other person to make you whole. You have to be whole, and come to the table with that whole slice of pie. Because I don't know about you, but I'd rather have two pies than one. So
2 pies are a lot of fun.
it's early. It's early. But you get what I mean. You know what I'm
It's
talking
true. It's true. All of that's true. 2 pies are a lot of fun, and also, come to the table. Excuse me. Come to the table with the whole pie. You know what I'm saying? Come to the table with the whole pie. No, and again, we're all going to meet at different points. We're all going to be at different points in our lives. Some of us going to be different, more broke than others or less broken than others, and so on. But again, you got to at least have the mentality. Some of the women that I dated before I met my wife, one of the biggest issues I had with them was that they had a disposition to be mad. Like they just had a disposition to be angry, right? They wanted to be mad about something. They found reasons to be angry. They found reasons to get upset, to start an argument. I don't. There's something really wrong with some of these women who say things like, this relationship is boring because we're not arguing, right? Like you should be toxic relationships shouldn't be a source of something fun for you. I feel like, but that was a big thing for me. Like, I'm not, when I come home, I got enough shit that I'm fighting out in the world. When I come home, anybody trying to be fighting with you? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, eat a sandwich and take you upstairs and eat some pie, you know? And yeah, you know what I'm saying? And like, right, go to sleep, get up, do this again tomorrow.
Eat, sleep, repeat.
That's what I'm saying. Eat, sleep, repeat. I'm saying. Trying to have a buffet and a gourmet dinner. You know what I'm saying? Get some good dessert going on. Anyway.
In your experience, in your experience, because I feel like in my experience, right, it just seems like, and I want people to sound off in the comments if it's not, but I have a question here, right? In your experience, Trey, because in my experience, have you noticed that it's a lot more females that are argumentative than males?
Oh, hell yeah.
A lot more females. And I just wonder, why is that? Go ahead, sound off in the comments. Let us know. But why is that? Why? What? Why? What is the? What is? What? Ladies, have you noticed that, ladies? I mean, what is what? Huh?
Why are y'all so argumentative? What y'all so mad about? We all want to argue about everything. Everything is a crisis. Everything is everything. What's that word they just learned a few years ago? Misogyny. Everything is misogyny.
Now again, it's not all, right? It's not all, but that's why we're just saying, I'm just thinking, like, in my experience, it's been majority of the females in my experience that have been just argumentative. Why?
Yay. Attention is currency, man. Attention is currency, right? You can get some good attention saying some stuff, man. Some people will say and do anything to get that clout. Legit clout chasers, man. They'll do anything. Remember that lady a couple, maybe it was a year or so ago, that pretended she got hit in the face with a brick? and
Oh,
pretended
that
a bunch
sounds
of dudes stood around and watched her get hit in the face with a brick. Do you remember that story?
that sounds familiar. It does sound familiar.
Yeah, yeah. That this it's that kind of stuff. It's that kind of stuff. And again, so it's not all. Nothing's true for everybody. Everything's true for somebody. Okay. Um. So if it don't apply, let it fly. But yeah, generally speaking, the more argumentative ones are women. Which, by the way, which is why men want submissive women. This is why one of the reasons why we want submissive women. It doesn't mean that you won't speak up, and stand your ground. Like again, my wife, I use my wife as an example. My wife is very submissive, but she's far from quiet. You know what I'm saying? Like she speaks her mind. She says what is on her mind. She tells me what she thinks and what she feels and all of that. But she's also not argumentative. She doesn't try to start a fight every time. She ain't looking for something to argue and push back on me about. You know what I mean? We want more. We want more head than headaches, ladies. We want you to give us more head than you give us headaches. And if it don't apply, let it fly, right? If that ain't your man, if your man ain't got to worry about none of that, hey man, shout out to you. You're amazing. You're awesome. You're going to heaven. I'm pretty sure you're already subscribed to the channel. If you're not, do that. But for the rest of them out there, for them friends of yours who ain't, heaven bound like you.
Yeah, yeah, buddy. But I was asking why, right? And I looked at, I went back to the video and I was just like, all right, well, could it be that they could not contain their emotions? Is that a part of it, right? Not being able to contain your emotions means like lashing out, being argumentative, this, that, and the third. You know, and could that be it? Again, hey, I'm not an expert here. Sound off in the comments. Let us know what you think. That could be it. I mean, so here's the other thing too. So because I'm going like off on a sidebar tangent on this because it's making me think about some other things. It's like we're not. I don't think it's that guys, as a whole are just more intelligent when it comes to that. Because again, most guys are simple. Most guys don't want to argue. Most guys have a nothing box, right? Rather, put that in a nothing box. We come back to it. Logically, we'll analyze that late. What does it gain me to sit here and be all argumentative and this, that, and third? Right? Again, some or most, not all.
I think men are. I think it's fair to say that men are generally more emotionally intelligent than women. Because
I think that
honestly, an emotionally unintelligent man would be an emotional man, and we would all say that man acts like a bitch.
I would say discipline because we have that discipline to like cut it off,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
would
that's what I'm
also
saying.
say that because it's because they also say that men, most not all have a hard time expressing their feelings and emotions, right? Having a hard time like, you know, talking about it or, just expressing it. And it's just like that. I know that's a different animal. Um, but I think that because we aren't overall accustomed to just expressing those emotions and being able to verbally like articulate what's going on and who and I and all of that. I think that's why I'm saying like we can cut it off. Like nah, like I think we have a switch because we got a switch that can take us into, war mode. Like I mean, I think we definitely have that discipline there, that intelligence to be able to all right, that's it. Nah, we're not doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Honestly, it's because of the emotional intelligence, and frankly speaking, the benevolence of men, that it's because of that we're not at war all the time, and that women are actually protected and so on and so forth. Because you're right, we could just you know you know just get mad, fly off the handles, and go commit crimes and loot and plunder and all that. We could do that, and many of us, most of us, don't do that, right? A good portion of us don't do that. So yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with emotional intelligence. I think men and women just handle our emotions differently. Men tend, when we get in those modes, a lot of us tend to think rationally, right? And even men that when they, again, the ones that fly off at the handle and are super emotional, most men would say, yeah, there's something wrong with him, because most men don't act like that. Because we would say that men don't act that way. Like we're not emotional in that way. You know what I'm saying? So I think in general, I would say that. Let's see. Let's look at the comment real quick. I like this one. All right, here we go. If men are more emotionally intelligent, then what would be a way that they could help their partner get on the same level when it's challenging for her to keep her emotions intact? It's a great question.
Hmm.
You want to take that one first,
Is
or
it
you want
that
me to
is
jump in?
great. Now you go ahead, jump in.
Okay. Um, I think the first thing is to also, first of all, not react. Right. First of all, not react in that same emotional way. Right. I think it's important to show. It's what is it? How's it go? I do, we do, you do. Right. So, I do it, you watch me. Right, and we do it together. Right, and then you do it by yourself, and I watch you. Right. That's how the transfer goes. So, we as the men, if we're the head, if we are to be the head of our households, and if we are to be the leaders in our homes, then it is up to us to first be emotionally balanced in the first place. Again, this is why we started off the conversation talking about being healed or getting healing, right? Getting that emotional healing. I believe that starts with God, in my opinion. Other people may believe it starts with therapy. I think you can mix both, and that's fine. But whatever it is, I think you need to be able to be. You have to be healed, and then be able to show that same patience, right? Because a person who is emotional like that is more emotional reaction just feeds that. Ask me how I know. But more of an emotional reaction, it just feeds the emotion right back, right? And until one of you is intelligent enough to realize that this is going too far and we need to stop. So I think if you're that emotionally intelligent partner, you have to be the one to recognize that this is going off the rails and be able to settle it. And I think a simple way is just to say, hey, let's bring this back. Let's bring this back, because we're yelling. We are yelling. That's one thing I like to say, even when I'm not the one yelling. So, hey, we're yelling. We're raising our voice. We're being emotional. Let's dial this back a little bit, because I want us to have a conclusion at the end of this conversation. I don't want us to just end the discussion and you're mad and I'm mad and I think I'm right and you think you're right and I think you're dumb and you think I'm dumb. And then we just wake up tomorrow morning and still like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want that. I want us to be able to move forward at the end of this conversation. So let's dial this back and start over. And let's deal with the root of the problem. Let's deal with how we got here, and then let's move from there. That's my thought anyway. Hopefully that makes sense. It sounded better. It might have sounded better in my head. I don't know.
Yeah, nah. I mean, you touched on some of the things that I was thinking right away. Especially when it comes to, like, it's not all right. It's not all men, but in this instance, um, you know, that that man has to be on that maturity level, healed, right? As Trey was saying, um, because and then he also has to know how to be able to articulate that and be able to teach that, because it is one thing to be able to do it yourself and cut it off. But it's another thing to be able to teach that, to articulate that. So one of the things that Trey said was just being able to say, hey, whoa. Let's calm down. Let's hold on. Okay, let's take a step back. Let's come back to this. Let's come back to the table. Let's calm down, think it through, come back, circle back, to this when we're calm, so we can have a conversation, be able to listen to one another, and I think that right there in itself, for a man to say, well, hold on, hey, you know what, you got it. We're gonna circle back, just to stop it right there, because that energy, that argument, that fight is just a transfer of energy. You feel a certain type of way and you don't like that feeling, so you're trying to get that feeling off of you, and it's transferring onto the next person, and that person is like, I don't like that feeling, I'm trying to get it off of me, and so you're just going back and forth. So the emotional, intelligent person says, wait a minute, hold on, let's cut this, because this is just going to be a back and forth, and let's circle back, let's take some time, let's think it through, and come back to the table and communicate to each other, having that dialogue, hearing the other person. Okay, what I'm hearing you say is this what you mean?
Yeah.
And allowing the other person to get off their chest, like really what it that truth, and just take it, and then ask questions. Like you can ask them to expound upon that, like okay, dig a little bit deeper, and don't get offensive right away, like try to you listen to understand, so you can get to the root of things. And I think that's super beneficial for couples to be able to do that, for people to be able to do that, to really not be so defensive, and be able to talk those things through without going back and forth in an argument.
Yeah. This is a great point right here. I feel like it's a pride issue, why we feel like we can't submit to our partners. Ooh, I'm gonna use that as a segue to the next viewer submission. One, because I want to answer that question, and two, because we got to keep the show going. All right. But yeah, okay, let's look at this next one, and I'm going to come back to that. I think this will kind of line up with that, because one of the qualities of being a wife is to be submissive, is to submit to your husband. So that is one of those qualities. So let's pour your glass. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, this is how you look when you keep mentioning to that man how good of a wife you'll be. That man then said, tell me about yourself, and all you got to say is, I'm a wife. God made me to be a wife. I'm wife material. Shut up. We don't care. If we gonna run game on you or drag you along, you can't prevent that. There's nothing you can do about that. And every time you keep mentioning about how good of a wife you are, he lighting you up in the group chat. That man ain't texted you back in 2 days. And then he over here texting you once a day like you a multivitamin. And you still over here hoping and praying that that's your husband. Move on. Most men actually do know what they want. We really not hard to figure out. We don't care about how much you highlight your Bible on Instagram with your highlighter, post on Instagram you going to the coffee shop with your scriptures. We don't care. He gonna do what he want to do, and you need to move how you need to move. That's the secret. But you thought cooking and cleaning for him was gonna persuade him to make you a wife? Come from among them. I'm a wife. And then you may actually be a good woman, but you over here trying to persuade him that you something that he don't even care about. Or you may not just be the one. Go talk to somebody else, because he definitely is. But why he let me love on him and come over there and cook and clean and talk to him and have sex with him? If somebody gave you $1,000 a week, would you stop him? Well, my pastor said if I withhold sex from him, that'll bring him to the altar and we're gonna get married. That's a lie, okay? While he talking and getting to know you, he got the faithful 3 that he knocking down in Houston for the past 3 months. So you can't even use sex as a bargaining chip. Be delivered.
Matthew chapter 7, verse 6 says, "Don't cast your pearls before swine." Don't cast your pearls before swine. There's a lot of people, I think, that waste good quality husband and wife qualities on the wrong people and look for it in the wrong people, or just look for it in general. I gotta, in my opinion, and take from it what you want, but in my opinion, it's best to work on you and trust in God to show you who He picked for you. Because obviously, if you knew how to pick them, you wouldn't be in this position you in right now. Whoever you are. All right. So the challenge that I see immediately, what do you bring to the table, is I'm a wife. I'm just going off of what he said. I don't know that anybody actually says that. You're called to be a wife or whatever. And then, that dude might not care. Well, that would mean that y'all's goals are not in alignment. So the question is, if your goals are not in alignment and yet you still cast your pearls among him, right? What other result could you possibly expect? Look, I'm just saying. All I'm saying is your words, thoughts, and actions or deeds need to kind of be in alignment. Need to actually totally be in alignment. Like you know what I'm saying? All right, go ahead, man. Get me off my soapbox. Somebody yank me off the stage.
All right, I'm jumping in because I was waiting. Because listen, I heard it a different way. I heard it, and so here's how I'm gonna give it to you. I'm a wife. I'm a wife. I'm a wife. I'm a wife. Yeah, I'm not really looking for anything serious right now, but I'm a wife. I'm a wife. I'm a wife. I'm a wife. But hey, we can go out. We can hit the movies. We can get some dinner, grab some stuff. But I'm not looking for anything serious. I'm a wife. I'm a wife. I'm a wife. I'm a wife. I can do this. I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. I'm a wife. I'm a wife. Yeah, but I ain't trying to. But I'm saying, hey, I can give you a massage. I can take you here. I can take you there. So once you come back to the crib and whatnot. Blah, blah, blah. I'm a wife. I'm a wife. Look what I can do. I can do this. I can do that. I can do this. So he said, if a man is going to run game on you, then he going to run game. There's nothing you could do about it. And when he kept saying, I'm a wife, I'm a wife, I'm a wife, I was like, dang, is she listening to understand? Or does she have this image and she trying to fit this guy into that image instead of actually like looking at the understanding what he's saying? And then actually, if he's not saying the right things, move on.
Move on.
I think.
And that's okay.
It might just be me. But is it me? But I feel like, the women out here are fishing for men instead of, you know, swimming in the right ponds and taking care of themselves and moving and you know, seeking God and or, you know, whatever it is that you do, right? But you know, working on yourself and like, not saying that you should be closed-minded to what's going on, but you know, just listening. Okay, yeah, hearing what he's saying, and if he ain't saying the right things, boom. If he ain't acting the right way, boom, you moving on. Like, not being, don't be, you know, confused, or don't, you know, listen. He's a man will tell you he gonna try to run some game. Absolutely.
Because all of us are gonna, because it's natural. All of us are gonna try to see how much we can get for as little as possible.
But you're gonna see the serious ones through their actions.
Squad.
You're gonna see the serious ones through their actions, and you know, you've gotta, you know, it I was going to say you gotta. I don't want to say you got to put them to the test, right? I don't want to say that. What I want to say is, if you have something specific in mind, because everybody's different, right? Everybody, not everybody's looking for marriage, whatever. But if you have this standard, this goal in mind, if you know what you want, okay, those standards shouldn't change just because you know, you think that, hey, maybe if I can change him or I can change her, or, you know, nah, the standards are the standards. You know, do the work, put in the work, you know, have the discipline. It's tough. I'm saying it like it's easy. It's not easy. I'm not saying that. But yeah.
Discipline, under no circumstances is discipline easy. Right? But ultimately, that, you know, that kind of is what it takes. You know, is some discipline on everybody's part. But you know, I think the overall central theme is, you know, a lot of those things. And I wanted to address this too, is I've heard this a couple of times this week in particular. You know, there's a lot of good women, quote unquote, a lot of good women out here, you know, and they got, you know, they got good jobs, you know, they got good careers, they got a nice house, they got, you know, some business ambition and stuff like that. They got this, they got that, da 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 da. And people will say, well, why are they still single? Well, the reason is because we don't care about any of that shit. We just gotta call it what it is. The reason is because we don't actually care. Like, not we don't care, like we don't give a shit, but like it's not a deal breaker. A lot of those things aren't deal breakers for us. Go ahead.
I'm gonna jump in and say that the other thing that it could be too is that it is now, while you know, most men, you know, I don't care about that. It is now easier to to fulfill the short-term desires. It's now easier to fulfill the short-term desires, you know, you know, and so
you can do it from your phone.
It's going to be a smaller percentage. It's going to be a smaller percentage that would even be interested in a woman like that, and it's just is what it is. It's going to be harder. Like the one you're looking for and the one that's looking for you, that percentage is small. So you know, that's why I said, you know, what pond are you swimming in is more like, you know, what are your circles? Where are you going? What are you doing? What are your activities? How can you find, or how can you be found if you're not in the right, you know, locations to find each other or be found? What I'm saying. You know?
You try to get drafted and you ain't on the field.
You know, you and the field is not necessary. You know, what is that field? Right? It's not the club, or maybe it is the club for you. Whatever, you know, whatever you are looking for. You know, Maybe it's the library, or maybe it's not the library. Maybe it's, but you got to be out there. You got to, if you're looking for something specific, get in that circle, get in that,
Well, that's the point though, right there, is you got to be specific. You got to know what you want. Right? You got to know what you want. You got to know what you're looking for. You got to know, or at least have an idea what that looks like. I mean, and to be honest with you, that's why a lot of dating is trial and error. Like most of us don't marry our high school sweethearts, right? It's a lot of, it is what it is, but it's right. Shout out to the ones that do, but most of us don't, right? Because it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of growing up. It's a lot of learning some things. There's certainly some things that I liked or wanted or tolerated, when I was in high school, that I absolutely would not like, want, or tolerate in college, and vice versa with college, with some things I absolutely would not tolerate as an adult. There's some things in my 20s that now at 40, almost 41, I absolutely would not tolerate in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's a lot of trial and error with that, because you're learning yourself and you're growing up too. That's why you got to find people that have, that align with you as much as possible, ideologically, as best as you can. Right. And but if you give everything, let me put it this way. How do you know which one is the right one if you give it up to everyone, or you do the same things for everyone? Men too, right? If every woman that you date, let's go with the spending money part. Every woman you date, you taking them all to go get their hair and nails and feet and everything done, right? Fine. Look, if you can afford that, cool, whatever. But
what's crazy?
You're doing that for everybody. So how do you know? How do you know?
What's crazy is when you're doing it for everybody, you finally get the one. Then you're not doing those things, because those things that you were doing remind you of tons of other people or whatnot. Now the other one you with is mad because you ain't doing those things anymore.
Wild stuff. You done had all 31 flavors, and now chocolate or vanilla or strawberry is boring.
Whoo. Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Woo. Oh, man.
Can
I get a pint of chocolate ice cream?
Right. Yeah, a lot of trial and error, and it shouldn't be. It probably wouldn't be if we didn't rush it as much, or if we had more ideals, if we had stronger ideals. I don't know. Maybe because probably if we all had, stronger ideals, it would probably be easier to find the right one. Because with little or no ideals, you get people that do any old thing. If there's no rules, then people do anything, right? All right, I'm just saying.
That was a good one.
Just saying. Gotta have some standards. Gotta draw a line somewhere.
Gotta move on when it's necessary.
And that's what we're doing right now, because we kind of still talking about society, and how society is using or viewing or abusing, I think, marriage and relationships.
Like that.
Yeah. And I thought this take it's pretty short, but I thought this take was very interesting, considering this was coming from Kirk Franklin. So we covered Kirk Franklin a couple of times, right? I think most recently we covered him on his the Father's Day album that he did. So this take is pretty interesting. Let's get into it. Get y'all glasses ready. Let's talk about it.
I believe that marriage has been weaponized in Western Christianity. Giving has been weaponized in Western Christianity. Sexuality has been weaponized. For example, any woman listening to this can attest in our culture. Don't be no 30, 35-year-old single black woman and go to the family reunion. All the older women are going to do them. They're going to look at you and wonder, why you not married?
Where your man at? Where your kids at?
Like it's a prerequisite for identity and value that if you don't have a man, if you don't have kids, that something about you is broken. Do you understand how dysfunctional these messages are?
Yeah.
And how we super spiritualize these messages. Paul said, but marriage is a necessary distraction. I have many friends that were in ministry at church, and the church has told them, if you're going to be in ministry, you can't be single. We're not going to let you work with the youth ministry if you're single. And so what people do, they quickly get married thinking that they're fulfilling God's will for their lives, but they are fulfilling man's dogma. You can be single and be used by God. You can be single and have purpose. Being married is not a prerequisite for God's hand on your life. It is not, but we've weaponized it. And then crucify people. Where my camera at?
Right
and
there.
And then crucify people when those same marriages don't.
Damn!
But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you. But these families are still broken.
Wow. Okay. So, as weaponized these. I drank a lot during that last one. Needed a few sips. Has marriage been weaponized in, we'll say, Western culture, but you know this is a Christian-based nation, at least at its foundation. So we can say in Western Christianity, if you like. What are your thoughts on what you heard there? And also the caveat, last week we just talked about Cam Newton with his 8 kids by 3 different women, right? Before that episode, this episode with Kirk Franklin happened about marriage being weaponized. Just throwing that in there for context, all right? Your thoughts, bro.
Please sound off in the comments. You know, I have felt this way, and this is probably why sometimes some men get a lot of flack. But I've felt this way, you know, for a little bit of time now, and it does seem like, you know, women are under attack if, you know, after they, you know, they're like pressured to attain this, kids, be a wife, this, that, and the third. Like it's like, you know, they get attacked when they go to the cookouts or to church, this, that, and the third. I mean, yeah, I mean, you see it, man. And man, I mean, I see, you can call it attack. They're under pressure. You know, you see it in church. You know, some churches won't even put you on stage because they're more so worried about the image of what it makes the church look like instead of his glory, his will. You know, it's like, if God's going to use a vessel, he's going to use a vessel. No matter that vessel's background, like, but then you are selfishly wanting it to look a certain way. It's got to be this way. You he mentioned selfishness. Like, I mean, phew, yeah. I mean, that was yeah. I feel like, yeah, man. It's like they go to the cookout and say, you ain't popped out 10, 20. But look, and even in the marriage, it's like you ain't got no kids yet. Where's my next? Where's my babies? Where's my grandbabies? This, that, and the third. Like, what? It happens. It happens. I mean, it's crazy, man. It is crazy, man. I don't know. I'm still digesting because that was a lot. I'm still digesting that. Jump in, man. What you got?
There was a game we used to play called Would You Rather, right? And in that game, we had a spot called Things to Consider. Okay. Things to consider. Marriage is honorable. Unions are honorable in Christianity. And we say in society as if there's a society, I'm not aware of any, that doesn't partake in the, institution of marriage. Some societies may participate in polygamous marriage, but they still participate in marriage nonetheless. Right? Okay. There's a reason, I think, for some people to ask those questions like, hey, why aren't you married yet? As a man and as a woman, right? I'll speak as a man first. As a man, your measure of manhood usually is in who and what you're responsible for, right? Your value, like when you become a husband, that's a different echelon. When you're a father and a husband, that's a different level. When you're a father and a grandfather and a husband, that's different. You know what I'm saying? Like when you walk in all those lines of manhood, so to speak. As a man, yeah, the question is when you gonna stop messing around. I've heard it before, like when you gonna stop messing around, right? When you gonna start playing around, stop playing around in the field because you do that when you're young, okay? But when you gonna stop messing around and get you a wife and start having some kids and start reproducing for the next generation because it's not just about you. You know what I'm saying? Families are a real thing. So, and shouldn't we be? Okay, let's talk about Christianity. Shouldn't Christianity be also, glorifying marriage and having kids and having families and raising them up the right way? Should the church not be talking about that? And then even from the standpoint of having kids, there's a time limit on that, right? Like after a certain point, you either can't make them, or it's harder to make them or have them. The older you get, and that right? Like, am I making that up? Like, the older you get, I mean, for men, yeah, we can make them in our 70s or whatever, but it becomes a little bit harder for women to carry them and keep them after a certain age, right?
Yeah. Nah.
If you 35 or 37 or 40, and no shade, but I'm saying if you're there, the likelihood of reproduction gets a little bit lower if you haven't already done that. Not saying it can't happen, but the likelihood of it is lower, right? So, yeah, you might want to get busy. You might want to, or you can't find a good man. You might want to soften your image. You might want to soften your image and find you a good one. Because I want my grandbabies, but I want my grandbabies because life has to continue on. Like our bloodline has to continue. Our family has to continue. Our lineage has to continue. So I don't know so much that it's weaponized. I mean, I'm sorry if you feel bad about it, but I think that there's some reasoning behind it.
So I agree with. I don't think that there's. I don't think that there's anything wrong with asking the question, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with asking the question. Um, and it's like if it's a cookout, you on the spot now. They go put it out on blast. This is family business. You know, uh, and so you just gonna have to take that. You gonna have to answer those questions. Um, you know, you're gonna have to answer those questions. When it comes to the church, I I understand that there's a certain message that you want to put out there, portray, uphold. Um, I do think that though there's a fine line, right? I think you shouldn't. There's a difference between asking the question and badgering, making them making somebody feel guilty, or I just think that I agree with asking the questions. I agree with me personally. I agree with marriage and all of that. Um, I still just don't think that it's for everybody. So if somebody says, "Listen, this is what I choose to do," then why not just be like, "All right, bet." I think that I think it becomes a problem when you're badgering that other person over the head with, you know, "Hey, have some kids, have some kids, have some kids, have some kids." I think that's when it becomes the issue.
Well, yeah. I mean, but also, you also want to see your family line and your bloodline and your children continue on. You want to know that they're okay, right? If you have daughters, I think you as a father and eventual grandfather would want to know that your daughters and are taken care of. If you have sons, I think you want to know that your sons have become, good, sturdy men, godly in my opinion, right? But godly men, and they've got a family and they've got their kids and your legacy, their legacy, your family lineage will continue on. I think everybody wants to have that. So the answer to the question is it for everybody? Obviously not, because everything's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Or at least everything could be for everybody. It could be, but it's not for various reasons, and that's cool. I'm with you that we shouldn't badger people about it or anything like that. But I also think that there's a little bit of sensitivity involved in that as well.
Oh yeah, I can
There's
agree
a
with
little bit of, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's a little bit of sensitivity involved in that. I think the people that are usually the most sensitive about it are the ones who they know deep down they the reason they let the good one go. You know. But that's that again, just my opinion, right? But
yeah, because I can see that when somebody lets a good one go, I can see that when somebody lets a
yeah,
good one go. I think it just stings a little harder when you have been doing everything you're supposed to do, and you haven't let down your guard, and you haven't let just any old somebody. I think that is the frustration part. That
sure,
sets.
sure, sure.
Um, so I mean, I just want to acknowledge those that are out there that are going through that are going through that frustration, because it can be tempting to give in, let in, give up. You know, hey, this must be how it is. You know, and that's no, don't. For those of you that's out there, don't give up. And realize, you know, that's what you said you wanted. You've gone this far. Continue. Like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very, very tempting, of course, to lower your standards. There's a couple things in the comments I wanted to get to real quick. Let's start here. All right, cool. So churches are always putting rules on how to serve God and how you have to live in order to minister the word to others. Now, all right, so I have two thoughts on this. On the one hand, I would say, yeah, especially, you know, on how, you know, you should minister the word to others and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that, of course, put a lot of personal opinion into a lot of things. But I also will say that those churches are silly to me because they already have the cheat code. They already have the playbook, because the Bible already tells you how to serve God and what things you need and how you need to live in order to minister the word to others. It already tells you that, right? Like, you know, if you want to occupy, for example, the office of bishop, it tells you in Timothy how, like what the qualifications for being a bishop are, right? So, you know, so yes, there are absolutely a lot of people that and a lot of churches that, you know, that kind of go away from what the word says, which is why, of course, I think it's important to study for yourself, so you recognize these things when they come up. But you know, my second thought, however, because while I agree with that and I made that point, my second thought, however, is if the churches are preaching out of the Bible, then they should be the ones to put up the rules on, or to tell you the rules on, you know, how to serve God and how to minister, assuming that it's biblically based and directed.
Yeah.
Should they not be that?
So you brought up a good point there, because the ones that are doing it correctly, right, will teach the word. You know, they're not going to give, you know, teach on their opinion. They're going to teach on the word, and not only that, they're going to be teaching. They're going to be teaching you so that you can learn how to fish, right? Because there are some churches out there that are just gathering more members, and not necessarily uh, uh, teaching, you know. And so you have to be able to, you know, you got to discern it. I feel like this goes
Discernment.
back to that whole move on. You don't have to be in that church. You can
Hello?
move on. You know, the
Find a
church is
good
in
one.
here, so I mean, you can move on. Listen to understand. If it's not making sense, move on. You know, that applies there too. Like, so you got to discern. It's like in every aspect of life, you have to discern, you know, for yourself. So because
Yep.
different denominations are going to follow their set of rules. You know, the Catholics are going to do what Catholics do. You know, the Baptists are going to do what Baptists do. So those are those sets of rules.
In the end, as I like to say, it's between you and your God, whoever your God is.
Buddhists are going to do what Buddhists do. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, where was that other one? I lost my place. Hold on. Where is it? Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? Ah, yeah. There we go. Communities are built from families. You can't have a community of single people. Well, not long term, you can't. Not long term, you can't. Eventually, they all going to die off. You know, so now long term you can. And I think again, I think that, you know, legacy does play a factor when people start thinking about, you know, you know, their history and their family history and so on and so forth. You know, after you get to a certain point, you know, you start thinking about You know, you start thinking about those kinds of things. Maybe you don't think about them when you're in your 20s or 30s.
Yeah.
Maybe not even 40s, but you start thinking about those things eventually.
You'll have a community of single people, and eventually some of those single people are not going to be single anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that part.
It's it's what happens. We're not meant to be alone.
And then if you have kids, and we've talked about this a few times too, if you have kids, the best place is the best way to raise them. The best way to raise them is not saying you can't raise them other ways, but the best way to raise them is mom and dad married in the same house under the same roof. That's the best way. Right? So again, like it's if you choose not to go those routes, fine. I think that's fair, right? To this point, that we shouldn't be judging necessarily, right? Because if that's the way that you go, great, right? But I'm gonna say this about divorce. The Bible's pretty clear about divorce too, right? That's not really something we're supposed to be really taking part in. I say this a lot that it's for better or worse, sickness and health, richer or poor, right, till death.
Unfortunately, you got people out here collecting infinity stones.
Yeah, right.
I'm laughing because it's if you don't laugh, you'll somebody. It's like, oh man, it's crazy out here.
Yeah, man. And speaking of crazy, it's about to get real crazy. Maybe we'll get him for the whole topic. We'll see what happens here.
Oh man.
But
we got.
I don't even know what's going on. I've been hearing the background noise. I'm interested actually to hear this story. So here we go. Are we working yet? Is it working? Yep, he up here. All right, here we go. So welcome him back to the stage.
Oh man,
Boss Kev, talk to us, bro. He's back in the game.
Yeah, what's good with the bros? Y'all see, I got my students and stuff. I'm waiting for parents to come and pick them up, but we just finished the game. We got the victory. This is my first time calling a football game. Look at these degenerates coming running. Y'all go on somewhere. It's a podcast. Get away from me. Yeah, get away from me.
Have them say we live.
we always live. We always live, man. But I said once we jumped off everything, I would see what was happening on y'all end, man. So what's good with the bros?
Hey man, we good, man. Hey, shout out to school and the team, and shout out to y'all for getting the W, man.
Oh yeah. And my choir did the national anthem, so we've been, I literally went from down on the field to up in the booth. It's been a great day. 7 to 10:30 is insane.
Indeed.
It's an insane block of time. It's an outrageous block of time. I'm gonna take a step for you because obviously, given your position,
can't.
Yeah.
So please, one for me, okay?
That last sip. That was my last sip in that cup. I ain't got no more. All right. It's all good. So hey, do we have you for a topic or you got to jump off?
Nah, man. Talk to me.
We're gonna let the good times roll then. All right, cool. We had the last topic, and I think this is good. I'm glad it worked out this way. This is one I specifically wanted Kev's input on. So let's get into it real quick. Welcome back, Kev.
Guess wasn't 50-50. The dishes wasn't 50-50. The laundry wasn't 50-50. The cleaning wasn't 50-50. And that's an everyday motherfucking job. I come home and they got food on the table, clothes on the bed, got shit everywhere. I'm organized and clean. So every day I'm exhausted. I'm coming home, I'm cleaning my house. And yes, I do that anyways. But when it's just you, it's just you. When you are cleaning up for a man and his children and other people, it is a whole full-time job and you don't get time for yourself. And that's why women get burnt out. And you're no longer happy in your relationship because you're coming home and a man is sitting on the couch because he's tired from work and you're making sure you're catering to him.
So what? So what? So what?
I don't understand. Where is the value in that?
Fellas, do not choose a woman who don't want to be a woman.
Are you delusional?
The modern day women, right there. I'm going to go to work like you. You want me to cook, clean. So what? Yes, you're going to cook, clean, do this and do that. And guess what? He taking the trash out. He fixing the house. He making sure this. But we have different duties, functions, and responsibilities. My wife don't want my duties. And I don't want hers. We have different responsibilities. Just because I can see you cook the food and you can't see me clean the gutters, you don't even care about that stuff, but it still need to be done. Men have different responsibilities. So all this, I cook and I clean, and like, yeah, that's part of your function. But when your tire is flat, my function is to make sure you have a new tire.
But
when your car need an oil change, it's my job to make sure these people ain't ripping you off. We have different duties and functions and responsibilities. And if you don't love your duty, your function, your responsibility, you're not fit to be a wife, period.
We're sick people. We're working for the future, because working for the present, we ain't making no progress.
All right, okay. This is lagging behind a little bit over on this side, but all right, we good. We back in the game. All right, here we go.
Well, I'll put y'all in my ears to make sure it wasn't me.
Yeah, no, you're good. Y'all good. So we have the Battle of the Sexes has returned again, and we're talking about roles and how 50-50 looks. Kev, you've been out for a minute. Talk to us. What's your thought?
Of course, we've exhausted this conversation to no end in the Black community. And like, what's crazy is like we're not talking like this in person. And I will say, like most of the people I'm around, which of course I try to put myself around sane people, we're not talking like that in person. We understand that like all relationships take effort from all parties. And even if we're not talking about romantic partnerships, like everything takes work from everybody. And so, he was spot on. If you aren't trying to, embrace the role that you have in whatever relationship you're in, then you're not going to find success there. You're not going to find a person who wants to be in partnership with you because partnership takes work from both sides. And so, I can and am now one of those people who's saying that the 50-50 conversation is exhausting and it's exhausted because, of course, at some point, your 50 is going to be 30. And at some points, your 50 is going to be 70. And at some points, your 50 might be the whole 100. And so we've got to realize that all relationships will have give and take. And when we start, counting the favors and keeping tabs, one, we're getting away from the Corinthians love that we're supposed to, understand. Like love keeps no record of wrongdoing. And so like it's it's just something that we got to get away from and understand that, everybody's roles won't be the same. There are things, that I can do well that I need a partner to help and support me with. And I imagine that there'll be things that I can do well for them. But, in every relationship that looks a little different. So we gotta come to grips with the fact that people need people in order to, succeed and survive.
Super facts. Super facts. Rich, your thought?
I feel like sometimes at some point in the relationship, you're going to feel like you're doing it all. At some point, you're going to feel like you're doing it all. And listen, I'm going to go ahead and let you feel the way you feel because I'm going to feel the way that I feel. But reality is unless that other person is sitting on that couch all day, every day, not contributing a thing, then you are not doing it all. Okay. Um, but it feels that way sometimes. So the question that I have in that one and what we just watched was, did you communicate that work, that role, that responsibility before the point that you exploded? Before it got to this argument or whatever it is, before you got so mad, like, was that communicated? Did you guys sit down and dissect it? Because it looks different for each relationship. Somebody likes taking out the trash, and somebody likes washing dishes, somebody likes cooking dinner, somebody likes, and so you got to find what works for you. Some people even have different times that they like to do things. Like some people like to get home and have a second to relax, and some people like to get home and get right to it, get right to the laundry, the dishes, the whatever, this, that, and the third. And you have to communicate those things. You got to communicate, hey, listen, this is what I need when I get home. I need at least an hour. I need 30 minutes. This is what I need. I don't operate the same way you operate. Okay, or this is what I need. I when I get home, I need to get it all done. I can't rest until I'm in a clean environment, until the dishes are done, blah blah blah. And so it just sounds like in that situation, those things weren't discussed. Those roles and responsibilities weren't discussed. And maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why she's blowing up. But did you have that conversation? Did you take it there? I mean, it just, that is what's needed. What's needed is you need to discuss. You need to know, even down it's like even the smallest things, like the toothpaste in the sink, or pee drops around the toilet, or it's even those little minute, those small things, those are big things. They can add up, they can boil over, it's that might be that tip of the cup, or those things need to be communicated. So what I heard in there is, it's not like, I don't think maybe it wasn't that, she wasn't willing to fulfill her womanly duties, and so she was mad. More so than it was like, okay, what are the roles? What are the responsibilities? Get a calendar and write out who's doing what. If you need to write it down, set a plan, make a plan, and figure out what works for your situation. I think that's what needs to happen. Everybody that's listening, you need to figure out what works for your situation. Period.
Facts. Well said. Well said, both of y'all. You know, there's a couple of aspects to this. It's been said a few times that, uh, excuse me, you tend to only see directly what's in front of you and only feel what you're feeling, right? So the people that are around you, you tend to not feel and understand what's going on with them, right? So if to your point about communication, it sounded to me like she was upset in her situation about, like she seemed actually upset in her situation about the lack of assistance that she was getting for household chores and household duties and so on and so forth, which, like you said, can be easily solved by simple communication, by a conversation, right? Conversation to plan a schedule very easily. But also,
Even if it doesn't meet your standard of when you wanted to get done. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. Because I think you also have to you have to be able to meet people where they are, right? You got to meet people where they are. So, but also, the point that the brother made in the very beginning, which was, yes, I expect you to do all of that. Yes, you're expected to do all of that, and whatever else, as I'm expected to do the things that I'm expected to do, right? Could you imagine for a second, like, if men wanted to go 50-50 on protecting the house, You know, something goes on. You hear some noise downstairs, something like that. We both go downstairs. You know, right? You know, so it's, any other kind of protection aspect. We both got to go do it. We both are responsible for that. No, that's not how it works. Something got to get fixed around the house. We both get all the tools. That usually isn't the case. Shout out to you if you are like that, but that usually ain't the case, right? We have different roles. Where some of us are better at different things than others, and you just use those gifts that you have, and you make things work. All this talk about 50-50, unfortunately, I think that gives too much. That makes too much of a scoreboard. I think really if you want to be 50-50, then you and your spouse have to be 100-0. You got to be 100-0.
All in.
You got to be, you got to be willing to be all in, especially if you're married, right? Especially if you're married. Because again, you said if y'all got married, you said in sickness and in health, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, till death. You said that. Okay? So yeah, especially if you married to somebody, well, yes, you're expected to do those things and then some, as he's expected to do the things he's supposed to do and then some, because we made this agreement. Sorry. Not really, but you know what I'm saying? But yeah, yes, so I got to do all of this stuff. Yeah, maybe you need to adjust your life a little bit. Maybe some things in your life need to adjust. I am a fan of stay-at-home wives, stay-at-home mothers. I'm a fan of that. I respect that institution. I respect that position because it's a lot of work to manage the house. It takes a lot. So I have a great deal of respect for that office. And also, I think that if there's not a stay-at-home parent, not a stay-at-home wife or whatever, then that means we're back in the territory of if you're at work and she's at work, who's raising the kids? Maybe some adjustments got to be made so you can work that out for a period of time. I don't know.
And I mean, are y'all able to hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, had to make some adjustments. So, I saw kids walk out. I was like, all right, cool. That means I can go home. Praise the Lord, everybody. And of
Shout
course,
outs.
it's a beautiful thing when somebody can be in that role, to be at home. And I know that you're not saying this, Trey, but I don't want it to be lost on people that, even if you have a stay at home parent, stay at home wife, stay at home partner, when you get home, there are still things that, you can aid your partner with. So,
And should.
and should, so like, it's not, oh, well, because I go do this, this is all your responsibility. Again, how do you show up, for your partner, and, taking things off of their plate is a way to show that you see the efforts that they're making, and a way that you can appreciate them. So like that part is important too, and not to be lost in the message that you were making.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, guys. I don't want that to be lost. Yes, absolutely. Just because, a stay-at-home wife is not a maid. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not the same thing. That's still your wife, and you're still supposed to be making her burden light. You're supposed to still be protecting her in that way. Again, it's another form of protection, right? Emotional protection, physical protection, right? Stress protection. It's just another form of protection. So yes, we absolutely should still be stepping in any way that we possibly can, in every way that we possibly can, to make her burden lighter. And I think that's doubly true.
Yeah.
If your wife works.
Yeah.
I think that's especially true if your wife works. But I also don't want it to be lost that just because you work, that means you get to engage in less responsibility for your office of being the wife and the mother in the home. You know what I'm saying? I guess that maybe that's the point I'm trying to make. Like you don't get less responsibility because you decided to go to work. Like, yeah, yes, those things are still expected of you. You know, so I mean that's just is what it is, and I would argue, fellas. I'm talking to fellas here. I would argue, fellas, if she's like, nah, I ain't with none of that. You then have to assess if that's who you want to be with. You know what I'm saying?
I would think that if you uh, relieve her load, then she would be able to relieve your load,
Amen.
and vice versa.
Amen.
And vice versa.
Amen. And amen. And amen.
You're helping each other out, is what I'm trying to say.
And that's a great deal of help. It's a great deal of help. But anyway, but that's just what we think, man. Listen, y'all let us think. Y'all let us know what y'all think in the comments, man. I like this. This is true. The problem is this conversation is being had not about marriage, but just dating. Well, yeah, and I do think that at a certain point we've got to be dating for the purpose of marriage, or you should be dating for the purpose of marriage, or be very, very clear about that. Be very clear about, hey, I'm here to have fun. I'm here for a good time, not a long time, and whatever, respect that if that's what it is. But I also think that, if you're going to date, especially if you're going to exclusively date, I think it's got to be towards the purpose at some point of getting married. And so I think the principles still apply, although the responsibility specifically may not. I think the principle still applies. If that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Here's another one. Okay, this is a good one. If we're both working, I feel like we're both taking care of the house. What I can't get done, you can, and I'll pick up what you can. Right. And that's exactly my point. Like it doesn't absolve you of responsibility. Like you still you're still responsible for doing whatever it is that you do in the house. And if you need help, then you're responsible for communicating to your spouse that you need help and what they can do to help you. And then it's on us, fellas, and it's on us to jump in, right? But I will say this, ladies, we're not mind readers, so that whole. I think we talked about this with who's the judge? Judge Lynn Toler, right? When she was like, you have to tell them, they're not gonna just know, right? Because we're not mind readers. We're not mind readers. No, we're not gonna just know. No, we're not trying to just know. No, I'm not advocating for the fellas to learn how to just know. No, if you want help, if you need assistance, it is on you to communicate your needs.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
Closed mouths don't get fed. We like to feed the mouths. All right, anyway. Okay. Give them a good old mouthful. All right, look, we done. We passed our time. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Y'all kept it live tonight. We appreciate y'all. We got to get Kev out of here, get him home safe. You see he's driving right there, so I'm put the spotlight on him real quick. Kev, take us out, and we gonna holler at y'all in a little bit.
Hey, glad I was able to jump on for a few. Definitely love being on here with y'all. So I appreciate y'all making the show long enough that I was able to get on. So yeah, shout out to everybody that's in the comments. Appreciate the love that y'all continue to show to us. Hit the like button, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, so we can keep this train going. Seasons are changing, so get some extra vitamin C in your system. Cover your cough. Wash your hands, drink water, not Aquafina, and mind your business. And I think we'll be all right. But just love on yourselves because life is short. Love on each other because life is shorter, man. Just appreciate y'all.
Yeah. I talked about being on the grind in the beginning. Just know that you're not in it alone. And even if you think you're in it alone, don't be afraid to reach out and use your voice, communicate. Tell people what you need. Tell people what you're looking for. I'm not saying show your hand. What I'm saying is use your resources. Get out there and make things happen. Appreciate you for being on here with us. Thank you for joining us. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, subscribe, share. Join us next time. We're gonna have some more to talk about, man. It just keeps getting better. So definitely, y'all be safe this weekend. But have some fun and keep grinding. Remember, communicate. Talk to somebody. It takes a community. You can't do it by yourself. So let's keep going, man. Appreciate y'all.
Communication is the key. Without it, all things will fail. All things will fail. And so, yes, we appreciate all of you guys. We appreciate the communication in the comments. Again, look, y'all make it more live. That makes it more fun for everybody. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. Have them hop on. We want to know what y'all think. We want to know your honest opinions. So let us know what you think down in the comments. We're going to keep the conversation going next week and, a few weeks thereafter, all them weeks thereafter. Listen, in the end, marriage works, but it takes work. Dating works. It takes work. Christianity works. It takes work. Following God works. It takes work. Okay. Everything that's worth having takes work. If it's easy, it's sleazy. All right. Learned that a little while ago. But seriously, yeah, I'm so glad y'all can't hear. I'm so glad y'all can't hear backstage right now. Over here cutting up. But seriously, if she's easy, if it's easy, it's sleazy. Okay. And greasy. It's easy and greasy. Nah, man. It takes work, man. Keep working for it. We appreciate every one of y'all. As always, we are done. That's it, man. We out. We out of here. Put your glasses in the air. Get your drinks ready. Get your hydration on. No Aquafina. That is, unless they start giving us a deal. You never know what's going to happen. Hey, whatever. What can I say? We'll holler at y'all on the next round. Tell a friend.
Friend has a daughter, so I asked him, would you be okay with the woman that you're dating now leading your daughter? And he was like, what do you mean? Do you want her to grow up and be just like her? Do you want her to dress like her, talk like her, present herself like her, express herself just like her? And I'm gonna just be real with you. If you yourself as a man don't see yourself with that woman, don't waste no time.
I'm not gonna do that. I respect you and I love you enough.
I want this magazine to know
what
it is about me. You don't want your daughter.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Be my guest.
I'm not gonna
be slighted, honey.
I'm not gonna do that. That's where we have to draw the line.
Okay.
Because I don't care because the camera in front of me or somebody's asking me questions. I'm not gonna reveal my everything that go on with me.
So I want to be a hero. Do you feel better now than you did in that van though, right now? I can provide better. But do it feel better? I don't know.
For the Force, the King, the Kamikaze, and the Great Interval, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you had a good time tonight. Tune in next week. It's sure to be a crazy night. We'll dig into all the shenanigans next week. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and tell a friend to follow us. Catch you on the next round.